Good evening. I'd like to welcome you to the first ever virtual candidate forum, Hardee County Candidate Forum. I'm Stephen Southwell with the Hardee County Chamber of Commerce, and we're pleased to bring this event to you tonight. I appreciate you tuning in and hope that it's informative. We've got representatives from almost all the local races this year, and the way it's going to work is each candidate will have 3 minutes to make prepared statements and introduce themselves, and then we'll take questions from me. I'll ask them each questions that they'll respond to that they haven't had a chance to prepare for, and this is the first time anybody's heard them, and then we'll keep moving through the races. So we hope you enjoy it. We hope everything works well. This is the first time doing it this way, so we're crossing our fingers that all the technology that we've got is all gonna hang in there with us. So with that, we're starting with the school board elections first, and we have Dick Daggett and Mildred Smith, and Mr. Daggett will start off.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Southwell. Before I begin, I would like to thank the Chamber for hosting this. Since I get to be first, I'll do that for everybody. They can do it as well. But this is kind of neat, being on a streaming forum with nobody sitting in the audience. My name's Dick Daggett. I'm running for School Board District 2. We're not from here originally, though we've been here 42 years, and we do claim this as our home. I will tell you the truth. We came down in 1978, and we said, well, we'll come over to this little town here for a couple of years, and then we'll go over to the coast. Well, anybody who lives here knows that this place does grow on you. And, we met people, and we said, you know what, this is home. So anyhow, I've been a teacher, a coach, administrator in the Hardee County school system. I'm married. We have 3 kids. All of them went through the Hardee County schools. We're proud of them. We have a couple of grandchildren here who went through school and did well. And I currently have a great-grandson who's in school here as well. The school system's been wonderful. Everybody's been really, really good for it. It's helped prepare our children for going on in life. They're all doing wonderfully. And because of that, I felt that I need to take the passion I have for education, come back, and try to get into our schools and do something to help make them better and keep moving forward. I've been in curriculum quite a bit. For a number of years, 6 or 7 years, I was on both a statewide and a national task force that was tasked with trying to find out effective teaching and learning strategies in both research and in taking it back and presenting it to teachers and schools around the state and around the country. It was a wonderful experience. I wouldn't give it up for the world. I've also been involved in the district's health care. I was in it back when we were self-insured, meeting with the administrators and the different people who we would get coverage from and building our plans. I was involved when we were doing bidding for insurance. I've served on both sides of the bargaining table, working with the district and with the union. And what I've found out is we accomplish the most when we're all working together. We've been recognized with that here in terms of we got recognized by both Saturn, UAW, AFT on a national committee where we had school board members, the union, and the superintendent all going off to Tennessee to be recognized for this, one of 10 in the country. In serving our community, I'm still active. I'm a treasurer and board member for Hardee County Habitat for Humanity. I still volunteer as an age group swim coach. I work with kids. We've been doing it for almost 30 years, and what we do is we do take money from that we make, and rather than pay our coaches like everybody else in the country, we pour it into scholarships for the kids that graduate. I have this desire to give back to my community, and I'd like to be your representative on school board for District 2. Thank you.
Hi, I'd like to thank the Chamber for inviting me to this forum. I am Mildred Smith, and I was raised in Zolfo Springs. I started first grade in 1956. I went through the junior high school and Hardee High School. I graduated in 1968. And then I started at South Florida Junior College, back then it was called. I finished there, went to FSU for my bachelor's degree, and I started teaching at age 20 in the junior high. I taught 1 year, and then I decided to go back and get my master's at USF. I went one night a week and 2 summers to get my master's in education. I have been teaching for over 37 years in the junior high and the elementary school. I have been a school board member for 12 years, so a total of 50 years of my adult life I've been involved in the public school system. I am classified as a highly qualified teacher, and I am certified for a master school board member. I've been through the training 2 different times with our whole school board and the superintendent. We have a great school system here, and I would like to keep it great. We have doctors, lawyers, CPAs, accountants, architects, engineers, linemen, plumbers, electricians, and most of those people make a lot more money than a teacher makes. My son was in the top 10% at Stetson Law, and he is a successful attorney in Winter Park, Florida. I was on many committees while I was teaching. The second year I taught, I was reading department head at the junior high, and then I was made team leader and grade group chair for a number of years till I asked not to do that. I wanted somebody else to have a chance to do that. It was a wonderful experience. I have a lot of students, former students that I work with, and a lot of their parents. And I think I had even a grandchild 1 year. I volunteer now with the Preco Operation Roundup Board. I'm on that board, and our electric company, Peace River Electric, is in 10 counties. We gave out over $100,000 in scholarships, which go to the graduating seniors in all 10 counties. So make sure that your children or grandchildren apply for those scholarships. We also give out money for medical, food, and housing for individuals and for organizations that need the money to use in their business, like the Caring Ministries in Bowling Green and the Cutting Edge that Wendell Smith has in Wauchula. We donated extra money this summer for the feeding programs because of COVID. And no one had to fill out paperwork for that. We just gave out extra money. In fact, Feed My Sheep with the Methodist Church got extra money for that also. And my platform is to keep everyone as safe as possible and continue educating our students because they deserve a quality education. And I feel like we have one of the best systems here in our little Hardee school district. Thank you.
All right. Now we have a couple of questions, and Mr. Daggett will get to take the first question first. And it is, how can our school district best prepare graduates to be ready to enter the workforce?
I think the best thing we can do is provide all the opportunities our students need. We have kids that are ready for college, but we also need to improve our vocational programs, our trades programs, areas that we're not as well in as we had been in the past. I won't say that our local people have not tried to do it, but I know that with the focus on testing for students, it's taken away a lot from our children. As a board member, I think we would want to increase that opportunity for our kids. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Smith, you get the same question. How can our school district best prepare graduates to be ready to enter the workforce?
We are preparing graduates to enter the workforce with our CTE program, our career and technical education, and our STEM program, science, technology, engineering, and math. And at this time, I think they are entering the workforce. If you've been out to high school, especially to some of the night meetings they have, Carrie Sue Ednafield's program is wonderful. They're getting certificates now in high school, and they can go straight into the workforce. We have just various programs out there that they can be involved in and get those certificates and start right away, and they'll make more money than a school board member or possibly a teacher right now.
All right, thank you. Ms. Smith, you stay up there because you get the first crack at the second question.
Oh, my.
Do you think it is wise to return to in-person education now, and how do we support our teachers and staff so they're able to manage the challenges?
I think that we did vote to open up the brick and mortar schools. And I do think that some students need to be in the brick and mortar schools because they need to be there facing a teacher, especially some of the special ed and the ESC kids. They need that opportunity that they can look at that teacher. School is a safe haven for a lot of kids, and we don't know what their home life has been like since March. And I think that they need to be in there with someone that they feel comfortable with, because actually the teachers are second mamas and daddies for these kids. But also I feel like some children would probably, especially those that are too nervous to come back or their parents don't want them to come back, we need those other opportunities too. We have like 3 different ways that they can continue their education. High school has 4 different ways, so I think the parent just needs to decide what's best for their own child. And they're going to be practicing all the social distancing, washing hands, all the CDE guidelines. I have asked for maybe desk shields, but we don't have the money right now to do that. But I know I've spoken with a couple of principals, and they have ordered extra things for their school that could, help with that. We really don't know how many kids are going to be coming back to school, so probably we'll have more room to spread them out. And I think we just need to offer all those opportunities, and they choose the one that would best fit their own child.
Thank you. Mr. Daggett, same question. Okay. Do you think it is wise to return to in-person education now, and how do we support our teachers and staff so that they were able to manage the challenges?
Every day we wake up and what we're facing with this COVID virus seems to change. So everything we have to respond to from the school has to change. Do I think it's safe? Sometimes. But I also know, depending on what grade we have back, I look at kindergartners and I see kids running around, and I see kids that aren't going to want to leave their mask on no matter what mom says or the teacher says or the rule says. How can we fix that? I don't know. I really don't. I think we need to sit there and talk to more people. I think we need to delay the start of school a little bit and make sure we have everything in place. We don't need to try to rush this. This is a safety decision for our children. It's not a political decision. It is a safety decision. Do our kids need to be in the classrooms? Yes. Kids do better with a teacher in front of them. Research has shown that. Putting kids on a computer, some do well. I have kids that will do well on computers. But I also know some kids need to be in that classroom. They need to have that teacher. And from a school board standpoint, we need to find a way to get money to buy the equipment they need to support them, make sure that our teachers are safe, our staff is safe, and our children are safe. Thank you.
That's it. Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you, our next race is the District 3 School Board race, and our candidates are Claire Cornell and Rafat Zachary. And we're going in alphabetical order. So, Ms. Cornell, you'll start and make some opening remarks, and then you'll follow.
Good evening, Hardee County. My name is Claire Cornell, and I come to you tonight seeking the office of District 3 School Board Representative. Why? Why vote for Claire Cornell? Unfortunately, I have not had the opportunity to knock on doors. I didn't feel like it was right for our community, but that does not mean that I have not been listening to your heart and what is concerning to you. So let me tell you a little bit about me. I am a mother of 3 Hardee County students. I have an elementary student, a middle school student, and a high school student. Does being a mother make me qualified to be on the school board? I don't believe it does, but it does give me a unique perspective as to what happens in each level of school and what it takes to be involved in our school system. I have a degree from the University of Florida in Food and Resource Economics with a business management specialization. I get it. Even my parents don't know what that means. It's a degree in business where I studied finance, economics, budgeting, and business management. Those things are going to be very important and very crucial for me to be able to be a good school board member. I once taught in the Hardee County school system. If you know my family, my parents are John and Tito Terrell. My father was in administration and my mom taught for 30 years. Most people just assumed I'd become a teacher. And I tried it. I loved being in the classroom. I loved the kids, but God called my heart to business. And so I've often wondered, how do I marry my love of the school and the kids and the students and the staff with my love of business? And God showed me that school board is the way to do that. So I believe that this is my perfect platform to be able to help our community with both of my strengths and my passions. I've been married to my husband, W.W. Cornell, for 18 years. I'm a fifth generation Hardee County resident, and I'm proud to say my grandmother graduated from Hardee High School in 1934. My father graduated in the 50s. I graduated in the 90s. And my son is a sophomore, and he'll graduate from Hardee High in just 3 short years. So we are invested in the Hardee County school system. I believe that our community does amazing things for our kids, and I believe we have great programs, but I want to see our schools our students be fully aware and ready for the world, and I think I can help with that. I actually ask that you vote for me, Claire Cornell, District 3 School Board Representative, and I hope to serve you in our community. I have been an active member of First Baptist Church of Wauchula. I'm an active member of the Hardee Education Foundation. I serve on the CAP committee. The school board has recognized my volunteerism by giving me the award. Well, I actually earned the award of over 100 hours of volunteer service to the school system, 6 consecutive years, and then another year I got the award for over 300 volunteer hours to our school system. I'm invested in the schools, I'm in there. I have many, many contacts with teachers and students, and a real heart for knowing what's going on in our system. Being a school board member who has students, who has family in the system, who has friends in the system, who has friends of students in the system is going to be invaluable for me as a school board member, and I look forward to serving you. Thank you very much.
Good evening. Everybody know me by name Zachary. I was born in Egypt in 1943. At that time when I was born, we have a king. In 1852 came a revolution. There is a lot different between when you have a king and you have a revolution, because the revolution just military. The country changed upside down, not for the good, for the worst. So anyway, I grew up right there. There is difference between Muslims and the Christians. Christians are people, real Egyptian. Muslims, they come from the year 700, and they stayed right there. Anyway, my parents named me with the name Rafat. Why? Because that's a Turkish name. You don't know that's Christian or Muslim, this name. That's the way when you go for school, you have to pass exams. With the name, just you see right there. This person can pass, this person cannot pass. Just from the name. So anyway, I named it by the name Rafat. So we established all the time to call by the name Zach. So anyway, I graduated from School of Law. I done my master's degree in international law, and after that, I worked a few years. I worked a few years in the government right there. After that, I asked for vacation, and I took off. I never came back to Egypt since the year 71. The reason, when they educate somebody right there, they call him that we spend that much money in him in education. So we're not allowed to leave the country. Anyway, I got permission to leave. I never went back. I'm here in the state since the year 76. Thank God that is everything here. When I say right now, I say, this is my home. That's my home. Because here I got a lot of opportunity. The main thing for opportunity, I got my children. They born here, and they got better opportunity if they live right there. And they have to be free. There is different. Here, America here, the people here, they take the freedom like privilege. They didn't use it right. But if they live in some place, they know the difference. We'll go back. I live here in United States since the year 76. And from that time, I went for different places to work. First of all, when I come here, I'm a lawyer. I need 14 credits to get it, to be qualified to work. 5 seconds? So, anyway, I come here to United States. I have all this opportunity. I have to go for School of Law to get 14 credits. I have to go to St. John's University that time. But I found a job in Postal Service, and I make a good money. And from this good money, I didn't have to go to law school again because I make more money. What I do if I graduated from right there and they're going to making less money. I have 5 children. 4 of them graduate from here. One of them is Maria. She's a champion here for the state of Florida for running. Even her name stayed here in the school for a couple of months here. I have my son Joe. He's also graduate from here. My son Kyle, also from here. I have another Justin. He's right now teaching in University of South Florida. He's a doctor. I have my daughter Justina, and she's graduated also from the school here. My son Joe, he married to an attorney. He lives in New York. And my son Kyle is working here for programming here in city of Gainesville, and he's married also. My daughter Justina, she married also from in Pennsylvania. She lives right there. Justin, he works here in Orlando. All my
All right.
kids.
We have some time constraints, so we need to probably move along to the questions. But
So I'm sorry.
and you'll get a chance to answer these questions and,
Okay,
and
thank
expound on those. All right, thank you very much. Ms. Cornell, you get the first question, or first question first, and it is, what challenges do you see that we face as a rural school district in attracting and retaining educators, and what ideas do you have to address those challenges?
I think one of the major challenges we face in attracting and retaining educators is our housing situation. And unfortunately, outside of my role of the school board, I don't have a lot of a say in that, in our housing problem. But I do believe we have amazing teachers that come and want to be teachers in our school system, because being in a rural school system is a benefit. Let's be honest, getting to teach in Hardee County, first year, second year, 10th year, 30th year, that is a benefit. We want to show these people that what a great community we have. People come to Hardee County and they fall in love. But I do know, I personally have a niece that is a first-year teacher this year, and she has come back to Hardee County to teach, and I'm super proud of her. But I know she's looking for a home, and that's hard. So we have a lot of our young teachers that are driving from out of town into Hardee County. We need to show our young educators, but also older educators that may be deciding Hardee County is the place for them, what a great community we are, so that they'll understand that overcoming any of those logistical challenges that are very important, like where to live, are worth it, because Hardee County is worth it. Our schools are worth it, and our students are worth it. So I would believe that we as a community need to find ways to house these great professionals that are coming into our community.
Thank you very much. Mr. Zachary, same question for you. What challenges do you see that we face as a rural school district in attracting and retaining educators, and what ideas do you have to address those challenges?
Teachers here in this county, really, I feel sorry for them because they're facing many troubles here. First of all, to teach, to facing what's going on here. Here is different people. I mean, all of us here, but most of them are Latinos. Latinos have different way, different than American born here. Why? Because different the way they raised. Latinos is more, somebody have to be mentoring them more and more and more, because nobody directs them at all. About teacher to stay here, really they don't make that much money. Some people they say making that much money. No, they are not. With the way they do it, or the way they have to do the job, I think they deserve more money more than that. I'm not a union guy for them to do, but I present to the community, and the community needs somebody to present to them, especially the parents. Nobody speaks Spanish in the board. Nobody. If I ask any of the members speak Spanish or understand one word, no, the answer is no. I speak Spanish. I speak several languages. I went to different counties or different countries also to work. I have kids, they grow here, they graduate from here, they graduate from college, everyone doing fine, and I have 4 children. I'm their godfather. They're Latinos. These are people, these kids forced me to be their godfather. Because I'm directing, I mentor many kids. I'm mentoring here in high school for more than 10 years. Most of the kids, or every kid I'm mentoring him, was already in college. Some of them is finished and already working here.
Okay, good. I appreciate that. That's time, and you get the second question first, so you can stay right there. And the question is, how do we equip our teachers and staff to not only educate students, but deal with the safety issues, such as the threat of active shooter situations and the current coronavirus epidemic?
That's a hard question. Because I asked one of an administrator here, what we can do if a kid went to school and we found him he's sick. What are we going to do? The answer, I got it, and I don't like it. The answer said, if this happened, health department is responsible. I said, health department, what about the kids here? She said, we have to get order from health department so we can do anything. For me personally, I think that should be the school open, should be open after 1 month from now. That's why it can be a little bit clear. Number 2, give a chance if they can find a cure. But if we have to go to school, the kids, and that's what real, I like them to go to school. I like them to go to school. But the situation right now is very iffy. It's not safe 100%. So the teacher have to do whatever they have to do. They're facing this challenge. But I think that is minimize that classroom. How they do it, I don't know. How they can make the distance between children, the 6 feet, I don't know. So we're just playing.
All right, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right, Ms. Cornell, same question for you. How do we equip our teachers and staff to not only educate students, but deal with the safety issues such as the threat of active shooters and the current coronavirus situation?
Stephen, what we're asking of our teachers, our staff, our faculty at the schools is astronomical. And I have to say, I do not envy the position they're in. But I'm really glad that you brought up the point of active shooters. This was quite the hot topic last year, pre-COVID. And now we're focusing as a society on COVID. Does that mean that all of these hard worked for plans and procedures of an active shooter go away? No. We're actually asking the teachers, okay, be prepared for an active shooter, but be prepared for a student to have a pandemic virus in your classroom. We have to do everything we can. And I want to say we have to give grace, but we can't give grace when it comes to our student safety. We, as a family, as my family, I have to do what I can to protect my students at home. Does that mean taking their temperature before they go to school? Yes. As a family, I would say parents be responsible to take the student's temperature before they go to school and potentially infect other students. When you come to the school and they say, I need to see your ID to get in, Yes, it makes me crazy because they know who I am. But my student's safety is worth me walking back to my car and getting my driver's license to show that lady so she can do her job properly. So we as a family situation, aiding the schools, we have to be willing to work with the schools and not cause them hardship. We need to be partnering and finding ways to help these teachers because, again, I do not envy the job they have. It is almost insurmountable to think of. But I know as a community we can support our staff, we can support our schools, and we can be loving and kind, but also we can demand excellence. So I thank the teachers for what they're doing, and I thank our families for partnering with our schools.
Thank you. And that is all the school board races we have. So we're going to move along to the county commission races. The first race that we have is the District 1 County Commission race. And we have from that race Colin Lambert and Sandy Meeks. And so we're going to go in alphabetical order. So Mr. Lambert, you'll get to start, and you'll have 3 minutes to offer some prepared remarks. And then Ms. Meeks, you'll follow him, and then we'll go to questions. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Colin Lambert. I'm your current county commissioner, District 1. I've served you for approximately a little over 7 years. I believe that I'm the best candidate for this job for the reasons of, one, experience. Like I said, I've done it for 7 years. There's no surprises. If you want to review videotape, you can go to the clerk's office. You can see me on video. I'm proud of my voting record. I'm happy with our ability to keep taxes low for the taxpayers. I am currently also a real estate broker, and that real estate broker part of me and my business comes into play very, very frequently as a county commissioner. In the upcoming years, next 2 years, we're going to be reworking the Land Development Code. The Land Development Code is critical to ongoing Hardee County and growth. And as a real estate broker, I'm on the front lines, and I interact directly with the people who come to Hardee County, whether they want to move to Hardee County or it's a business that wants to move to Hardee County. So I interact directly with them, and I see the hurt and the heartache in people and why they choose not to come here sometimes, whether it be a land development issue or something else. So I think that skill set that I provide is very important in the future for changing the land development code that will make Hardee County a much more attractive county. I also, being a business owner, I have to deal with budgeting. The budget is very important to me, and in my office, I also do budgeting. So I've really worked hard to try to keep the millage rate low and keep it in check for the taxpayers. If the millage rate gets out of check, people tend to start leaving. The people who own businesses, they don't want to stay here anymore. The taxes are out of line, and it creates a spiraling situation that is not good, and it can be catastrophic. And that's another line of protection. I'm concerned about the community, and I want to offer my services once again and do the best job I can. Thank you.
Good evening. First of all, I want to thank the Chamber for having this event and allowing me the opportunity to come here and speak. My name is Sandy Meeks, and I'm running for Hardee County Commissioner, District 1. My husband is Scott Meeks. We have been married for 20 years. I have 2 sons, John Gordon and Scotty Meeks. I have 2 grandchildren, John Michael and Juliana. Of course, I love my kids, but being their granny, which is what they call me, and I love it, is the greatest joy of my life. I also attend Riverview Heights Missionary Baptist Church. I graduated from high school in 1990 and South Florida State College in the late 90s. After college, I began work at Davis & Roberts Real Estate, where I was a real estate secretary for 5 years. I then got a job at the property appraiser's office. I was a data entry specialist, and after I received all of my certifications, I was promoted to an agricultural appraiser. I worked there for 2 years, and then I moved over to the Board of County Commissioners office, where I was their office manager for 15 years. I prepared agendas, budgets, attended all of the meetings, prepared ordinances, resolutions, policies, and agreements. I was also the public records custodian and the main contact for citizens' complaints. In 2012, I was also chosen as Employee of the Year. As well as the office manager, I was also the secretary for the Economic Development Authority. I prepared the budget, agendas, minutes, reviewed reimbursement requests, and was responsible for all contract development and project contract management. I have also been involved with fitness for many years. I worked at the YMCA where I was a certified personal trainer, aerobics, and yoga instructor. So for the county, I was recommended to be the chairperson for the Wellness Committee and serve in the Wellness Committee and also be the Wellness Coordinator. I understand that one of the projects the Commissioners wants to do this year is update the Land Development Code. During the early part of my career, I assisted in preparing the ordinances for the Land Development Code. We later codified all the ordinances through Mooney Code. I continued to be responsible for making sure the land development codes were up to date and all the ordinances sent to the Municipal Code Corporation. So I'm very familiar with this process. I attended the Board of County Commissioners budget workshops a couple of weeks ago, and I think we can do better with this process. We need to take more time. We need to ask more questions. Fire assessment fees are being increased, and citizens do not need any increases in fees or taxes at this time. My approach is simple. I will work for you and with you to move Hardee County forward. I can do this job, and I am ready to serve the citizens of Hardee County. Please vote for Sandy Meeks for Hardee County Commissioner, District 1. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Lambert, you get the first crack at the first question.
This is like Cash Cab. If I don't know the answer, I can phone a friend, right?
Sure.
Okay.
Well, I mean, it'll cost you, though.
Right,
You have to
okay,
pay
I
that
got you.
part.
I
The
got you.
cash comes in. Okay. What ideas do you have to encourage more citizen participation in local government?
Oh, I would say that a very important factor about participation in local government over the years as things has progressed in the evolution of social media with I remember when I was a kid and I would see people who held elective offices, it would be something that I really looked up to. And I think with the evolution of social media that that has been tarnished quite a bit. And I think that it's really important for the public to know that whoever holds this position, whether it's me, whether it's Sandy, any other elected position, sheriff, anybody, whoever it is, do what you can to lift those people up, because if all people ever do is tear down, and this is not everybody by any means, but it happens on social media a lot, but they tend to want to tear down. And when people tend to tear down, it makes for a situation where good people won't step up and try to run. I think that's a critical component. To get people more actively engaged, I think that they need to develop a respect and understanding of what we actually do. I would encourage them to watch the live stream, and it's even if it's not live stream, they can go back, they can watch it again, and at any given time. But it doesn't matter where you get your information from. The information is always a certain person's opinion, whatever that may be. If you watch it for yourself, it's your takeaway, it's your interpretation of whatever that is. So I think it's really important that the people get the information from actually what goes on. It will create a situation where they're more engaged.
Thank you. Ms. Meeks, you get the same question. What ideas do you have to encourage more citizen participation in local government?
Well, Stephen, I'm so glad that you asked this question because this has been part of my platform. I have a lot of ideas to encourage more citizen participation. Working for the County Commission Office for 15 years, I have seen somewhat of a disconnect between the commissioners and the public, and I feel that we need to be more, I don't want to use friendly, but I guess I do want to use friendly, more friendly to the public. The first thing I would like to do is go through our rules and regulation, or our policies, the commissioner policies that we have our rules for the meeting, the way the meeting is run. I feel some things in there need to be changed. I personally, the one idea that I will give here, because I know we don't have much time, is I want to get rid of the buzzer. I do not like the 3-minute timer. I think the timer should be used if you have 100 people speaking, but if you have a citizen coming to the meeting that has an issue, they got their issues wrote out on a little paper, maybe it's going to take 5 minutes, I think we need to allow them the time they need. Thank you.
Thank you. And you can stay right there because you're going to get the first crack at the second question. So, given the ever-increasing cost of operating local government and services, coupled with the possibility of a shrinking tax base, how do you balance these two issues?
Well, the ever-increasing cost of operating local government, our budget, it has increased, and this is a very hard question because it's hard to balance these two things. But I feel that there are several areas that we can cut in the budget. I don't think we take enough time to really go through the budget process. When I first started at the county, the budget workshops were a week. Now they are 2 days. So I think we can find areas to cut cost. Services, I feel that the county provides their services that they provide. I feel we have a good team effort, Public Works, we have a utility department. So I feel that we are on the right track, but I feel that there's a lot of improvement that can be made. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Lambert, same question for you. Given the ever-increasing cost of operating local government and services, with the possibility of a shrinking tax base, how do you balance these two factors?
Well, I guess we could be posed at a position where we have a shrinking tax base. Fortunately, we haven't had that in quite some time, and we're not experiencing it now. But I guess this is more of a hypothetical. But from a hypothetical standpoint, if we had to do that, there may be some services that have to be cut. However, I have some ideas. I have some ideas for. There's an expense side of departments, and there's also for many departments, there's a revenue side. And the revenue side in a lot of departments, I think, is not, I think we could do things to complement it. I'll give you an example, like Hardee Lakes. I know that we have increased the revenues out there quite a bit because of the hookups and people camping and things like that, and just people knowing about it. It's continually growing. But I think that there's other things that we could do at Hardee Lakes that would also generate additional revenue. And it's not just Hardee Lakes. There's other areas that we could do this, even Pioneer Park. But we have an opportunity to generate revenue. And if we can generate revenue, and instead of having the expenses, trying to cut them, generating revenue will do the same thing as cutting the expenses. So either way you go, growing up, my dad always said to me, he said, if you watch the pennies, the dollars will take care of themselves. And it seems like a simple and a small task at first, but it's something that will grow and get bigger and bigger. And if you compound the revenue side, things will tend to take care of themselves in a really restricted environment.
All right, thank you both. That is it for District 1. So we're going to move along to the next County Commission race, which is District 5. We have 4 candidates for District 5, and I'll introduce them, and then we'll take everybody in alphabetical order. We have Judith George, Horace Binky Graham, Mike Thompson, and Tim Wells. So, Ms. George, you're first in the alphabet, so you get to start first. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Judith George, and I've lived in Hardee County for more than 20 years. I've been in District 5 for the last 6 years, and I hope to live out my life here, God willing. I'm a former employee of the Board of County Commissioners, and I was Executive Director of Hardee Help Center for almost 7 years. I retired early to become a full-time caregiver for my husband, Stephen, who passed early last year after his 6th bout with cancer. He was an Army veteran of the Vietnam era and was exposed to Agent Orange. We had to fight to get him qualified for disability, and he fought against cancer up until his passing. He urged me repeatedly to run for commissioner. As folks do, we saw things happen that we thought might be done better or differently. He knew that I had the experience and the strength of character to be able to handle the job. I did not agree with him at first, but as time has passed, I've felt led to seek this seat. I'm a servant of the people. I have experience with the personnel process and issues, having worked in the personnel office. I was the budget specialist for Hardee County and was the first one in that position, was there for more than 4 years, and then moved to the grants coordinator position when that job opened. Those 3 departments equipped me with enough experience to know more than the average candidate running for the office. But the last position I held was working as the curator for the Cracker Trail Museum, where I got to learn about the history of this beautiful place and teach others a little bit about it. I love Hardee County. From 2007 to 2013, I was director of Hardee Help Center. The first director had taken the opportunity to pastor a church in another state. I worked closely with other nonprofit organizations and agencies. In 2011, I was named Citizen of the Year by Wauchula Police Department for leadership in the community. I was blessed to be able to lead people toward training and resources that might help them better their lives. But we're still the second poorest county in the state. I believe we can shape a better future for Hardee. We all need to peacefully work together, utilize the best of our knowledge and experiences, and grow our county economically and demographically. I want to work for the people, and if you vote for me, I promise to listen, to work diligently and peacefully toward a prosperous future for us all.
Thank you, Mr. Graham. You're up next.
Good evening. Thank you for having me here tonight. I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Horace Graham. Most of you know me as Binky. I'm running for District 5 County Commissioner. A little about myself. I married Raylene Rayleigh Graham. We have 3 kids, 8 grandkids. We're members of New Hope Baptist Church. We all lived in Hardee County, and most of us around Lemon Grove. My background runs deep in agriculture, from cattle, citrus, farming. Okay, I guess I need to get to the platform. Ever since I started, this has been on the future of Hardee County, or on what can we do to keep our future generations interested in our county and want to stay and raise their families here. To work toward what it would take to bring in new industry, new development, maybe some bigger companies that can offer more to the community than just a few jobs. Maybe some companies can offer more of a career opportunity to fill in some of the voids that's starting to be felt from the mines. Don't get me wrong, there's been a lot of families that's been raised here because of the mines. When I graduated, you were either fortunate enough to go into your family business or some sort of agriculture or business uptown, or you went to college if you were fortunate, or you went to work at the mines. But times are changing. Not as many jobs at the mines, and citrus is trying to make a comeback, but it'll never be as it was. And family-owned farms used to be the best way to make a living, or it was for me, but like everything else, it's changed. Land's hard to get, cost to raise a crop is 3 or 4 times more. Like everyone else, I don't have all the answers. But no, we have to find a way to move into the future. And I am open to look and listen to new ideas. A lot of people want to know about the past. My answer to them and you, I wasn't here or part of the past. I'm here for the future. If the past keeps us from moving into the future, then we'll fix it. But dwelling on it only slows the future. Thank you.
Do we have to sing Super Election? It's listed up here. I guess that's the next song. I'm Mike Thompson. I'm the current District 5 County Commissioner for Hardee County and have been since 2012. It's been an honor to serve the people of Hardee County, and I've mostly enjoyed every minute. I was born in Avon Park, raised here, went to high school here, went off to college, came back. I lived for a while just north of Bowling Green in the edge of Polk County, and then I bought my house back down here 23 years ago. I've been married for 30 years to my wife, Sherry. We have 2 kids. Jillian is almost 20, and Emily's 18. In 2012, when I was elected, my daughter Jillian, she was 12 years old then, and she held the Bible that I put my hand on and swore the oath to. People told me it was one of the cutest things they ever saw, a little pink Bible, a little pink dress, and she's not big as nothing. But after I took the oath, I told her, I said, I'm doing this for you. I said, I want you to be able to come here. If you decide to make a career, I want there to be a career for you in Hardee County. And we're working on it. I've worked really closely with economic development, with the economic development director and the industrial development authority. It all hasn't worked out as planned, but I'm very proud of some of the things we've done. And my daughter graduated from high school last year, 2019, and she's now going to South Florida State College these days. And she's pursuing a course of study that there might be something here for her. Only time will tell. The plans that I have going forward, I've got numerous things that we're working on. One of the biggest projects we have going on right now that's near and dear to my heart is our land development code. We are in the process right now of probably a 2-year project to completely go through it and rewrite it. And I believe my experience on the Planning and Zoning Board going back all the way to 2007, and then my experience on the commission since 2012 puts me in a position to know what needs to be changed in that land development code to make our development easier to do. There's some things that we don't have much control of as the building codes and things like that, but we do have control of our land development code, and we're going to do our best to try to come up with a code that works best going forward into our future. I've worked hard to try to keep our taxes as low as possible. It's been a real challenge. We saw some reduction in tax base during my tenure, and it hasn't been a lot of fun at times, but things are headed back the other direction now, and we're hoping for a brighter future ahead. I would appreciate your vote, appreciate your support. Thank you.
Tad, okay, very good. My name's Tim Wells. I'm running for County Commission in District 5. I'll tell you a little bit about myself and a little bit about the platform that I have. As a Christian, as a husband, as a father, and as a local businessman, I've always tried to run my life and run my business and affairs with the same Christian values that I was raised with. Along with, between my church, my parents, and the United States Marine Corps, the service that I had there, and a handful of very strong leaders, men to be specific in my life, that helped me form opinions and good work ethics. I've learned the value of hard work and perseverance. I've been able to survive here in Hardee County for the last 36 years in my own business. Whether those of y'all that's never been in business, that's quite a feat, especially in the industry that I'm in construction. My background is in marketing and in business and some finance. I'm proficient at developing marketing plans and strategies and implementing procedures to streamline business productivity. I believe that my background and my work ethic with that and the help and together with the other commissioners and the people of Hardee County, that we can build a strong and lasting foundation for the future of our county. I'm going to just hit a couple bullets here. First thing is building a strong foundation, I think is the main thing that I'm interested in here. Starting with a well thought out plan and an agenda that prioritizes meets the needs of the people. I've had people tell me you don't understand and that you can't do things. Well, what I do understand is that if you don't have a plan, you'll never get it done. So that's of the utmost importance, is setting something in place that you're able to work through and to follow through with it. Some people in life don't realize that without that plan that things just happen. Most people don't plan to fail, they just fail to plan. Am I getting short on my time there? 1 minute, okay. I have a can-do attitude, always have. I've never been a go-along to get along person. I'm interested in finding ways that we can move forward in our county to offer a future. Okay, in the Marine Corps we have things such as an SOP, Standard Operating Procedure, that allows us to be able to consistently know where and when things are to be done. In our commission, we need to maintain open channels so that all parties that are within the government here knows what the other party is doing. I believe that we should work on education for our children and young adults. Opportunities more over than anything is vocation. I'm hoping that we can work in those areas. Phosphate mines, real quick, it's something that we have. We need to learn to work with the phosphate companies, come up with strategies and ideas that we can utilize land use and work with people that are here. In closing, first off, I'd like to thank everybody up here, Mike, Binky, and Judith, for throwing their hat in the ring and willing to participate in our political arena. I'm a hard worker with a skill set to lead and make things happen. I believe for the future of our country, our county, Hardee County, that we can either keep heading down the same roads and winding turns and things, or we can strike out and look for a new opportunity and a new way to do things. If people in Hardee County are interested, if they're willing to move forward, I'm the candidate that can help make that happen. I ask humbly for your support, and may everybody do well.
Thank you. All right, we've got a couple questions for you, and we'll start with Ms. George, since you get to go first. And the first question, which all y'all have the same question, so y'all get the chance to answer this question, and then we'll go in reverse order on the second go around. What role do you feel the County Commission has in increasing the tax base, and how do you think the BOCC can best address that role?
In increasing the tax base?
Yes.
I think the Board of County Commissioners work in conjunction with the budget director, the finance director, and I think together they can mutually come up with an idea or several ideas to build the tax base. I know handling the budget and going through line by line and making things fit is not an easy task. I've worked in that office, and I've watched 2 budget directors and county commissioners go through the workshops back when it was 5 days, and it's not an easy task. I think I don't have a pat answer, but I think it takes teamwork, working together and investigating any possibility that is feasible.
Thank you. Mr. Graham, you get to go next. Same question. What role do you feel the County Commission has in increasing the tax base, and how do you think the BOCC can best address that role?
Well, I don't think there's a right answer and a wrong answer to this question. Nobody wants to see their taxes go up, and county commissioners don't want to be the ones to say, hey, we got to increase the tax base to take care of this. At the same time, it's hard to tell the sheriff's department, the fire department, the parks department, hey, we got to cut your budgets. Usually when somebody starts cutting budgets, it's laying people off. And nobody wants to lay people off, especially this day and time, because if you got a job, you're lucky. So it's a give and take. There's no magic pill for it. I've watched the budget meetings with Mike, and he kind of said it best at the end of his budget meeting that he's been doing it for 8 years. This is 8 budgets, and it's never easy. and it never works out like you want it to work out. So it's just a deal that everybody will have to work together and work it out the best we can, and that's about all we can do.
All right, Mr. Thompson, you're up next. I'll read you the question again. I know you've heard it twice, but
That's okay.
what role do you feel the county commission has in increasing the tax base, and how do you think the BOCC can best address that role?
The tax base in Hardee County is about $1.6 billion. That's billion with a B. Our millage rate for this upcoming year, for this year it's 8.99. For the upcoming year, we're fortunate to be able to drop that 2 points because of a slight increase in the tax base. What we can do as a commission to help with the tax base is to help in the project that I spoke of a while ago in rewriting our land development code to make things easier and more advantageous for businesses to be able to move into this community. We need to work with the Industrial Development Authority. The commissioners sit on the Economic Development Authority, which has as a source of money severance tax from the phosphate mines. We have decided that the best use of those funds is for infrastructure, water, sewer, roads. Businesses are not going to come here without water, sewer, and roads. And by continuing to expand our county water and sewer system and the city water and sewer system and making all this stuff work better together, along with a easier to work with land development code, I hope that we can get people excited about moving their businesses to Hardee County. Now, a lot of folks have said over the years, and I've gotten kind of crucified for this statement, we don't need a Amazon warehouse coming here. We can't stand it. What would happen to the businesses in the county if a employer that needed 1,000 people to work came here? We would decimate the existing businesses. And I've always said the first rule in economic development is do no harm. So the first thing we need to do is not mess up what we got going. We need to work towards smaller and medium-sized employers, these 25 and 50 employee businesses that would be willing to move here and hire people here. And in the last couple of years, things have really started to gel together. We've had one right now, our Riveters has moved in. They haven't been in operation but 6 or 8 months. And they've already about 50 employees, and they're bursting at the seams where they are. They've got to have help getting moved into a bigger place. We need to make it easier for these people to get here. We need our planning department and our building department to work closer and together to try to make an environment or create an environment where people will really want to move their businesses here. And that's what we need to be doing.
Thank you. Mr. Wells, what role do you feel the county commission has in increasing the tax base, and how do you think the BOCC can best address that role?
Well, again, going back to what I said earlier, by having a plan, putting a plan into place that would allow the parties within our government to work together and to seek out different avenues for different types of funding. And look, and I'm a realist. I look at things and I look here and I say, well, you know, this area here could be cut because of this reason. Not to take somebody's job or get rid of someone, but to look at it and take a look from top to bottom. What are we doing? Are we taking the monies that we have here in the county, our tax base, and we are being good stewards of that money? And sometimes, that's the reason why I'm running, I don't feel like that we are. So I don't think that we're in any great harm or chance of the tax base dropping here anytime soon, but that could happen. But if it did, we should have thought out ahead of time, how can we work and how can we deal with these problems that could possibly have? In other words, a contingency plan. So I know that as Binky said and some of the stuff that Mike said, hard decisions have to be made. But in order for our county to move forward in the future, we have to look at all different avenues that we can work and survive in this world today. And I'm hoping that of the four of us that get in, whomever is elected, that we look real strongly at the future of Hardee County and not just a particular company or a particular individual in the county for whatever their needs might be. Thank you.
All right, you can stay right there. We're going to go in reverse order.
Good.
First shall be last, last shall be first.
That's it.
So you get the next question first.
All right.
What factors will you consider in prioritizing funding projects and programs?
Well, I guess my simple way of looking at it.
My mic wasn't on, so I don't know if the streaming audience picked up the question. So let me just repeat this for their benefit.
Right.
So I'll say it again. What factors will you consider in prioritizing funding for projects and programs?
Well, I believe that we should look at, find out from our communities what the needs are, actually speak to people, set up opportunities for them to speak to the commission and to other parties that have a say. Let's actually weigh all of our options. I mean, I work things very simply. I write a pro list, I write a con list. If the pros outweigh the cons, I have to go in that direction, okay? In other words, if it's something for the county that I feel is good, I'm going to really seek it out and try to make sure that would work. Was there a second part to that? I'm pretty good at reading a prompter, and I don't see anything.
That's it. We our prompters, I think, are a little behind. We haven't gotten the questions up there, but that's it. So,
Right.
Mr.
Thank
Thompson.
you.
What factors will you consider in prioritizing funding for projects and programs?
Anything that increases the tax base of this county and takes the burden off the existing taxpayers is good for me. And I think get back to trying to bring more businesses into this county and the things that it's going to take to create that environment. It's almost like the same old story. We need the infrastructure, we need the roads, we need the water, the sewer, and everything to make it more inviting for people to come here. They're not going to come here if they can't get these things. The other thing that we've been working on, it's been a pet project of mine for several years, and unfortunately it's a limited. There's limited things that the government can do to spur it, but we really have a single-family housing shortage here in Hardee County. Specifically, what what I've come to call workforce housing. It's people that teachers, police officers, firefighters, those type of people need a place to live here. So many of our teachers and firefighters and police officers live out of county, and those salary ranges of those people, the money that those people make that's the type of house, and we've debated on what that house is. Sometimes it's been 140, 150,000. Now I believe it's probably a little higher than that. I'm not sure where that number is right now, but we need to have houses in that price range for people to be able to live here, so they'll spend their money here. We don't want them to work here. We want them to live here and spend their paycheck here. And all of these things have to come together to make all that stuff happen.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Graham, you're up next. What factors will you consider in prioritizing funding for projects and programs?
Well, I think that whatever, if you can get somebody to come in and replace some of the jobs that the mines are starting to give back. So you need companies that offer careers, you need companies that offer wages that are compatible, that will entice or interest our future generations of staying in Hardee County. And then the infrastructure would be an important factor on the list. If you don't have infrastructure, you don't have anything to offer the new businesses coming, new companies, new industry. You got to have housing. You got to have hospitals. You got to have good roads. So, but you got to have a place for people to work.
All right, thank you, Ms. George.
I'm just happy to be last.
Yes, you can be last. I'll read the question one more time for you. What factors will you consider in prioritizing funding for projects and programs?
I could think of three. The need for the project or program, and that should be weighed with what the residents feel is needed. The cost of the project or program, and the benefit to the community versus the cost. That's my simple, in a nutshell, answer.
All right. Well, thank you. That's all the questions we have for this group. I appreciate all of you coming this evening. We are wrapping up with the county commission races now, so you all can leave the stage. So thank you so much for coming. Our next race is the supervisor of elections. And we have one candidate from that race here, Patty Clark. So she does not have to share the spotlight with anybody. She gets the stage to herself. You'll have a few minutes to make some remarks, and then I've got a couple questions for you.
Okay, great. You okay? Hi, I'm Patty Clark, and I'm running for supervisor of election. I live here in Wauchula. I'm married to my husband, Roger Clark, for the last 32 years. I have a daughter named Paige Clark, and she works for the USDA here in town. I've worked in the citrus industry, doing harvesting, doing nursery work. I have worked at Mosaic in a management position there. I'm now working for an emergency alerting system that's global. I'm the production and the project manager over the Florida division. I belong to a lot of different civic groups, Rotary, Heartland Crime Stoppers. I sat as a secretary on Heartland Crime Stoppers. I was the treasurer for Rotary for 6 years. I do volunteer work, and my passion is to be the next supervisor of election of Hardee County.
All right, thank you. I've got a couple of questions for you. So the first question is, how do you feel the supervisor of elections can best address voter confidence on a local level?
So I want to encourage voters to register. I want to take and increase voter turnout and registration in Hardee County. I've worked on this before I ever decided to run for supervisor of election. And I want to make it a passionate for everyone to wait for the election time to come around and want to participate. I'd like to set up outreach programs so that people can understand more about the amendments and about our candidates and what they stand for, so that they don't feel uncomfortable when they go to the voters registration, when they go to the voting polls and have to take in and actually decide and make a decision on who they're going to vote for or what they're going to vote for.
Okay, thank you. And the next question is, what ideas do you have to increase and encourage voter participation with the younger voting population?
So when I was getting my petition signed, I did kind of a little survey, and I targeted young voters between 18 and 35. And we were only at 42% that is even registered to vote. So I would like to take and have an outreach program that I can take and share with the high school and with the South Florida State College. And I would like to take and be able to teach them how important it is to vote and why they vote, and that it's their responsibility and their right to vote. I just think that the lack of participation is not good for Hardee County as the upcoming generation of voters.
Well, thank you so much
Thank you.
for being here tonight. Good luck with the race. Our last race of the evening, which has the most candidates, is the race for Sheriff of Hardee County. And as they come up on the stage, I will introduce them. We have, is everybody here, or are we waiting on a few people walking in? All right. I didn't want to get too far ahead of myself. All right. With this evening, we have Vincent Crawford, Eddie Davis, Brent Dowden, and John Eason. And we will go in alphabetical order. Each of you will get the opportunity to make a few opening remarks. You have 3 minutes to speak, and then I have a few questions that each of you will take. We'll go into alphabetical order, and then we'll flip it and go in reverse alphabetical order for the second question. So first up is Vint Crawford.
Thanks, Steve. My name is Vint Crawford. I'm a candidate for the Republican nomination of Sheriff of Hardee County. I'm a lifelong resident of Hardee County. I'm a second-generation citrus grower. I own property grows with my two brothers, Van and Vern, and with my wife, Teresa, and my sister-in-law, Kathy Crawford. I've been married to Teresa for over 35 years. I've spent 40 years as a community volunteer, starting at 17 years old with being a Wauchula volunteer firefighter. I served Hardee County's youth during that time in a capacity of a Little League coach, Little League umpire, and eventually the president of Hardee County Little League. I've also mentored at-risk students in a dropout program for the high school. Currently, I serve as the vice president of the Fair Board. I'm also employed with South Florida State College as an instructor for the Adult Basic Education program. I earned an Associate Arts degree from South Florida State College. I've also have earned a bachelor's degree from the University of South Florida, where I had the pleasure of meeting the Sheriff Grady Judd. He was an instructor of mine in police management. I've completed the coursework in my master's degree program in criminal justice with my thesis left to finish that degree. I'm a 28-year veteran of state law enforcement. I've worked every county south of Polk County in Florida. I worked as a homicide sergeant. I worked as a district lieutenant in 3 different districts in the state. I also was a shift commander over Southwest Florida in state law enforcement. And I was the lieutenant over evidence and training, also over Southwest Florida. During that time, I was responsible for over 200 law enforcement officers in their training and certification. I also maintained 6 evidence rooms. I was on the original National Accreditation Committee for the state when the Highway Patrol actually became nationally accredited. I wrote policy consistent with the compliance of that accreditation process. I have over 10,000 hours of specialized and high liability training that I've taken, taught, or coordinated, including critical incident command,
which is the FEMA. I've worked with, trained, or supervised 8 current and past sheriffs, which affords me resources and personal contacts that other candidates in this office cannot say they have. My platform basically is going to be accreditation. We need to put professional standards back in law enforcement here in the county. Community policing and actually country policing, which is actually policing the outlying areas, getting to know the individuals in the outlying communities. Increased responsiveness for the sheriff's office in the public, making sure citizens are in contact after initial reports and their feedback. Collaborating with other agencies and judicial systems to develop partnerships in the betterment of our citizens. Securing schools to work collaboratively with school officials, not only reduce crime and ensure our schools are secure and develop relationships to grow your own law enforcement officers. I also would like to modernize and increase efficiency in our business practices.
Hello, I'm Eddie Davis. I'm a candidate for Hardee County Sheriff. My current title is a major at the Hardee County Sheriff's Office. I am a second-generation law enforcement officer. I have spent 29 years of my life policing Hardee County. I started in corrections back in '91. I have created during this time, I went through crossover, went to the police department. I've worked the last 25 years at the Hardee County Sheriff's Office. Last 5 years, I've been the undersheriff for Sheriff Arnold Lanier. I'm married to Amy Davis. I have 2 children. I've lived here in Hardee County all my life, well, from the 6th grade in 1979. I went to school here, graduated here, raised my children here. I live here. You know, the sheriff's office has been my life. Serving this county has been my life. You know, I want to talk a little bit about my initiatives that I'll bring to the table and that I've already been doing at the sheriff's office the last 5 years that I've been under Sheriff Arnold Lanier. One of which is school resource. You know, our children are our future, and school safety is of utmost importance when it comes to our children. And as your sheriff, I will vow to coordinate with the school system and continue to put the most updated, trained SRO deputies in the schools and keep them in the schools. With the new pandemic, we are not going to back off on our school resource deputies. There's a 1,000 student to deputy range, and we're going to keep it just like it is. The next thing I'd like to talk about is our Care and Community line. That's something we've already started, and that program is already been a success. We've already saved a woman's life who was signed up on that Care and Community line, who didn't call in one morning. So we sent deputies out and found her. She had fallen, and our deputies were able to provide life-saving support to this young lady and get her help. This is just another program that we are continuously working on at the sheriff's office. Inmate work squads. I believe inmate work squads are very important. I believe they need to be, our inmates need to be out working. We can't force them to work, but we can give them incentives to work. You know, I've seen it in the past where inmates who are afforded the opportunity to get out and work, that helps them with recovery and when they get out of jail. So that's a very good program that will help these people when they are not incarcerated. Teach them trades and that type of stuff. Accreditation. Now, my views on accreditation are we are an accredited agency. Our policies, we meet and or exceed accreditation, all of our policies. We were accredited for 10 years. Sheriff Lanier chose to stop the accreditation process due to the cost of the accreditation process and the benefit that it provided our agency. The sheriff felt we could keep up our own accreditation without costing taxpayers tens and thousands, even more than that. It costs several positions to maintain accreditation. We have a 110-man agency and woman agency, and there's 2 separate accreditations you have to hold for our agency, corrections and law enforcement. And with that said, we can keep up them standards ourselves without having auditors. For 10 years while we was accredited, I had an auditor come in one time and call me in, and I was supervisor over narcotics. And this supervisor and this auditor that called me in, he asked me one question in 10 years. So, you know, the only thing accreditation did for us was put that shiny little sticker on the side of our car. We will keep up the standards of accreditation. We are within them accreditation standards at this time. So this is just a few of my initiatives. You know, I care about this county. I've been through the good, the bad. I've worked through the hurricanes. I've worked through the pandemic. I've grew up in this agency. I've spent my whole life in this agency. So as your sheriff, I will continue. Our morale is up. We are policing ourselves. And as your sheriff, I vow to my deputies will be respectful. I will hold them accountable, and we will continue to increase our patrols. Our drug unit. That's another one of my. Narcotics is the heartbeat of crime in every facet, from domestic violence to burglaries to grand thefts. Drugs are the heartbeat. People don't steal just for personal gain. And that's something that we are going to tackle, and we are going to continue to be. You know, I spent 10 years of my life in the drug task force and supervising the drug task force, and that's what we're going to continue to do. So we're going to be tough on crime, and we're going to provide a good service to the people. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Brett Dowden. I'm almost 55 years old. I'm a longtime Hardee County resident. I have worked for the Bowling Green Police Department for over 22 years, the last 18 of which I have been second in command of my agency. I am married to Summer Robards Dowden. She and I co-own and operate Robards Family Funeral Home. One of the most important things to me about my platform is that I want to get involved in the community. I want people to have a good relationship with the sheriff's office and know the people that they work for, just like we have in Bowling Green. I have always strived to be a servant of the people. I've always strived to make sure that I am out there in the community, not sitting behind a desk somewhere, alienated from the people that I serve. This is a very important concept in law enforcement, to maintain that community presence and be a member of the community, not separate and apart from them. Because while we call ourselves officers and other people civilians, we have to remember we are also civilians and part of the community. I think that I would like to see more cooperation amongst law enforcement, pooling of resources. I am very financially responsible. I think that there are many areas that we can improve our finances in, sharing resources, doing better for the community with what we have. Hardee County is not an extremely wealthy community. We have to be prepared to live within our means. We have to be prepared to get the most from our dollar. That said, I'm a U.S. Navy veteran. One of the things that I was what they call a fire controlman, which is a specific duty. But on board the destroyer, I had many collateral duties that I performed in addition to my primary duty. This makes personnel more effective. This costs less money. This is a practice that we instituted in Bowling Green many, many years ago. We are able to do more with less. We have been able to field people in the in the community. We've been able to do things clerically. We've been able to wear many different hats and be as financially responsible as we could be with what little we were able to work with. I have dedicated 30 years of my life to law enforcement. I have done law enforcement and military, public service my entire life. I grew up in the funeral industry. I'm still active in the funeral industry, which also is a industry of service to the people. If elected, I will be accessible to the people. I will be accountable to the people. We will make certain that we do it right and that we do it right the first time. I have to say that I believe in accreditation. I don't think that it's overly prohibitive. And I think that when you say accreditation, that means that not only do we police ourselves and follow the correct policies that all the other agencies follow in the state of Florida that are accredited, but we have oversight to make certain that it's not just my word given to you that we're doing this, that there's some oversight. I think these are important things and important issues. I humbly ask for your vote on August 18th. If elected, I will bring harmony and goodness to the county. I will be out in the community. I won't sit behind the desk. I can't stand that. I'll be out in the community serving, getting to know people, and building those bridges that make our mission successful. Thank you.
Good evening, and thank you for having me. My name is John Eason. I am currently the Chief of Police for the City of Wauchula and also the Republican candidate for Hardee County Sheriff. So a little bit about my background. I have served in the public forum my entire adult life. I am now going into my 27th, almost 28th year of serving the public. I'm a U.S. Air Force veteran, dual certified as a correctional officer and as a law enforcement officer, worked for the Florida Department of Corrections, worked for the Wauchula Police Department, and I'm also an adjunct instructor with South Florida State College. So my community involvement is deep in Hardee County. I'm currently the president of the Hardee County Rotary Club. I've been a past president of the Hardee County Rotary Club. I'm a member of the board of directors for the Kiwanis Club of Wauchula, and also currently sit as the chairman for Advent Health Wauchula's Foundation. So I have extensive roots with community involvement here in Hardee County. So my education, I hold 2 associate's degrees, one in criminal justice from South Florida State College and one from Polk State College in liberal arts. I also hold a bachelor's degree in public administration from Polk State College. I graduated with all 3 of those degrees with honors as a member of the Phi Theta National Honor Society. I've attended the Dale Carnegie Leadership Institute. I've also attended the Chief Executive Seminar offered through the Florida Criminal Justice Executive Institute. My training includes well over 3,500 hours of in-seat time that I have personally sat in a seat undergoing training. I have at least another additional 3,000 to 4,000 hours as an adjunct instructor teaching at South Florida State College in both the law enforcement and corrections disciplines. I also personally provide to this community CPR and first aid training for free to the community. I'm an instructor as a women's self-defense instructor, providing that training also to Hardee County for free. In addition to that, I'm also an active shooter awareness instructor and have provided that instruction also free here in Hardee County. We good? Okay, sorry about that. So I provide those training classes to Hardee County, to their residents, free of charge. Our agency provides that free of charge because that's our responsibility to the community, is to provide those services and those classes which will make them better, able to prevent themselves from finding themselves being a victim. I'm the only candidate that can stand here tonight and tell you I have worked as the Chief Executive Officer for a law enforcement agency. There are candidates who have worked in the administration. That is correct. There are candidates who have been command staff. That is correct. I am the only candidate who has the training, experience, and knowledge as a Chief Executive Officer and can say, when the buck stops here, the buck truly stops here. I cannot go to another sheriff. I cannot go to a chief and ask for an opinion. I have to make that decision, whether that's disciplining an officer, changing policies, terminating an officer. That decision rests solely with me. So budget development. In today's time, we're all aware of what's going on with COVID. COVID is going to have an impact on our budget. We watched it during the budget development for the Hardee County Sheriff's Office budget. That budget that was originally submitted was cut by $1 million. They were requesting $2 million increase, and it was cut by $1 million. So you as a business owner, you as a citizen, you have to make sure that you're operating within the budget that you're provided. So the Hardee County Sheriff's Office this year, for the next budget year, asked for a $1 million increase. I'm here to tell you the budget for the Wauchula Police Department currently today is 1.5% higher than what it was at our highest point in 2009-2010. That equates to $25,373 that my budget has went up in a decade. While we went up $25,373 in a decade, we have replaced every single patrol car within our fleet. We have purchased new weapons, upgraded our weapons, upgraded tablets, upgraded computers, went to a new progressive uniform. That's what you can do when you have budget development experience. I build the budget for the Wauchula Police Department. I also sit on the budget development team for the city of Wauchula. I have experience managing and developing multi-million-dollar budgets. If elected sheriff, I will become aggressive in looking for state and federal grants. Since taking over as chief of police in the last 7.5 years, the Wauchula Police Department has been awarded $493,000 in state and federal grants. That is correct, $4,903. $493,000 rather. That money has been used to fund the Victims Advocate Program, which is ran through the Wauchula Police Department for the entire county. That money has been used to upgrade servers, computers, purchase bulletproof vests for officer safety. That's $493,000 that has not come out of your pocket as a taxpayer. So lastly, I want to touch on accreditation. You have heard that accreditation is costly, time-consuming, overburdensome, that it takes multiple people to manage. I will tell you, as the Chief Executive Officer for the Wauchula Police Department, I have helped manage that program for the last 7.5 years. I do not have an accreditation manager. Those positions are handled by both myself and my assistant chief. The total cost to accreditate the Hardee County Sheriff's Office for 3 years, not including personnel costs, which can be utilized by current staff, is a little over $8,000 for 3 years, about $2,300 annually. So when you start talking accreditation, I can tell you my policies meet or exceed the state's, because I have individual assessors that come in voluntarily every 3 years and they evaluate my practices, procedures, and policies. And if I'm not doing what's right, they will report to the Florida Commission for Law Enforcement Accreditation, and they will suspend and take my accreditation status. Under my command, the Wauchula Police Department has received 2 Excelsior Status Awards, which is the highest award that you can receive through the Florida Commission, or the Commission for Florida Law Enforcement Accreditation. We have done that without an accreditation manager and without spending tens of thousands of dollars. I want to thank everybody for their support. I want to thank the community for everything that you've done for me, for my agency during this election, and also during my tenure as Chief of Police. And I humbly ask you for your support and vote on August 18th. Thank you.
Ooh, the light is bright. I'm glad. Thank you for holding my glasses. I'm Rosie Wendell, Republican running for sheriff. First, I want to start with, I wasn't late. You started early. I was on time, prompted not to be here 10 minutes prior to, which I was. Thank you for having me. Again, I'm running for sheriff. I have 30 years. I'll start right off the bat. 30 years with the Hardee County Sheriff's Office. I've worked there, started in 1990, started in the jail, worked my way up in the jail as a supervisor, and from there I was fortunate enough the administration at that time was able to move me over to patrol. During that time I became certified in corrections, took my Law Enforcement Academy crossover, went to the road, very fortunate to be there, lost my rank, went to the road, and progressed from there. I've spent, again, 30 years providing service to this county, 30 years of 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. I thought about it all day long. What am I going to say standing up here? The majority of the people of Hardee County know who I am. I said 2 months ago or a month ago at the last Republican meeting that I was able to speak for 5 minutes. I haven't campaigned for the last 6 months. I've provided a service to this county for the last 30 years. 30 years I've provided the service in one aspect or another. Many things I did because I was required to do, many things I was required not to do, but again, for 30 years I campaigned, and in my terms, campaigning is providing a service. We're telling you what service we're going to provide or that we have provided, what I've done, what I haven't done. Well, I've done it for 30 years. I provided that service. A lot of it was mandated and a lot of it was not. I believe part of the service, I interviewed people for years, well over 14, 16 years, every new employee that came into the sheriff's office. I had the opportunity to sit and interview them, question them, and one of my famous questions is, give me the definition of service. Well, Rosie's definition, my opportunity to provide instead of ask, is service. Service is providing whatever the need is that the community needs, and that's what I believe in, providing that service. If the service is law enforcement, you provide it. If the service is taking someone to jail, it's providing that. A lot of times when people call you, or the majority of the time when people call for law enforcement service, it's their last call, their last resort. They're calling for us to show up and to fix the problem. To fix the problem is not what they want. We're taking away their loved one, we're taking away their source of income. And it's a hard decision, but it's a black and white. You broke the law, you go to jail. You didn't break the law, you don't take them to jail. But the majority of the calls that we provide, or the service that we provide, is not to jail or not to jail. It's a problem that they need solved. And that's what I've provided for the last 30 years. I was a supervisor over patrol for 14 years, provided an excellent service. The people that worked under me, that I worked with, some adore me, some hate me, but that's part of supervising. Supervising is not an easy thing, but the one thing that I can tell you is if elected for sheriff is consistency with discipline, consistency with supervision, consistency across the board of providing the service to the people that are providing you the service, the people of this community. Consistency, because that's what needs to be. Retaining, we have a huge problem, and again, my 30 years, I've seen it. I've seen the ups and downs of, we have plenty of people and more applicants than we can pick from, and then we get into the aspect of we have 3 applicants and you have to pick the best, and none of the 3 are the best. But consistency of providing the service. When it comes to hiring someone, it's a difficult aspect. But you interview, they always present their best, they provide you with their best, and you hope for the best once you hire them. But once you invest that money and that time into that person, the success is based off the people that is training them. The people, it is my job as a trainer to provide them with every tool necessary. And it continues. Again, one of my favorite sayings is, if you think you know it all, it's time to retire, because nobody knows it all. It's a living, breathing aspect of law enforcement. Life is living, breathing. It changes every second of every day, and you have to change with that. Hiring people, retaining people, and being consistent, that's where it starts with providing service to this county, is the people on the lines providing that service and being consistent with them. Management. Accreditation, I've heard accreditation and accreditation. I was a huge part of accreditation when the sheriff's office, let me rephrase, that's a lie. I was a part of accreditation when we became certified. I was a part. And we maintained it, we were recertified, we let it lapse. The sheriff at the time, the administration chose to recertify. We had a set amount of time. I was given the task to recertify us. And that's where I learned where accreditation was. or what it is. Accreditation is a tool, just like everything else that you see on a deputy's belt. It's a tool. And a tool is providing the best service. Accreditation is a good tool. Is it the best and the answer to the problems that we have at the Sheriff's Office? No, it's not. I'm not saying it's not beneficial, but it's a tool. What accreditation is pushing management, pushing policies. Major Davis brought it up. Do I believe we're at accreditation standards? No, I don't. But I believe that our policies have been lax. I believe our policies are inadequate. They're not reviewed on a regular basis. Accreditation does provide that. Accreditation does help you maintain, but again, it all falls on management. Management in every aspect. The right management, providing the right guidance for the people that are providing the service to the people of this community. And that's what it comes down to, is management in every aspect. If elected as sheriff, I have a plan of management as far as providing on-hand service. Most of our deputies have less than 2 years on the road. With that being said, they need guidance, they need supervision. Again, Rosie Wendell, appreciate your support. Thank you.
All right, got a few questions for you. And we'll start back where we started, beginning with Mr. Crawford, and you'll get the first crack at the first question. Events over the past several months have brought attention to community relations issues for law enforcement. How do you view the current status of community relations with the Hardee County Sheriff's Office, and what ideas do you have to maintain good community relations?
Currently, the department has a fair deal with community relations. The most important thing that we can do as law enforcement is have ties with the community. To do this, you need the implementation of professional standards. And we've talked about the professional standards tonight. But we need to incorporate additional community policing areas in the county. If we are able to community police areas where community relations are not as instilled or not as enforced or not as reviewed, we will be able to have a better system in place. Community policing is really the best tool we have as far as going into the areas where community relations are sometimes not as good as they need to be. As long as we have diverse communities, there's going to be a negative perception of law enforcement. That is just happenings that happen in the media that dwells on it will always have an effect on that. Having law enforcement within those communities, having law enforcement in those communities will better create the relationships between the community and law enforcement.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. You're up next. Same question. Everybody gets the same question. You go around. So
Okay.
I'll read it again for you. Events over the last several months have brought attention to community relations issues for local law enforcement. How do you view the current status of community relations with the Hardee County Sheriff's Office, and what ideas do you have to maintain good community relations?
Well, one thing, I believe our relations with the community is good. We're a small county. We're a family-oriented county. Everybody knows everybody for the most part. And one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to create a citizens review board. And what that is a, Lake Dale, Ona, Limestone. I'm going to have a meeting, a community meeting, and we're going to select a representative from each one of the communities. This has been done before, and it kind of fizzled out with a previous sheriff. And I want to try it again, because I believe we need to get out and we need to hear the people, talk to the people, and hear their concerns, and allow them to be with, do ride-along programs with us, and actually see what we see and see it from our eyes. And that's what's got to happen in order to create a good community relationship with the public. So, and that's.
All right, thank you. All right, Mr. Dowden, you're up next. And I'll give you the question again if you want me to.
No, that's fine,
don't
sir.
want to be a broken record, but I'm happy.
No, sir.
All righty.
I've heard it. I think the easiest way to have good community relations is just be a part of the community. I am a part of our community. I spend most of my days in a patrol car, riding through neighborhoods and stopping and talking to people. They may have issues or problems that don't necessarily relate to law enforcement, but they're problems where a lot of times the last resort is let's call the police or let's talk to the police, because we've exhausted all of our other avenues and we don't understand anywhere else to get help. Whereas it may not be necessarily a law enforcement issue. If it's a community issue, I can take the 30 years of service that I have, I can take the 18 years of command staff that I have, and I probably know somebody that I can refer you to that can help you. I'm easy to find, I'm open, I'm accessible, I don't hide behind an office door, I'm out in the community. If you're looking for me, you probably find me on the front porch of the funeral home after work. I get people that stop by and visit. I might be grilling steaks in the backyard. I get people that stop by and visit because they don't know where else to turn and they know that I'll help them in their time of need. I like that. I really genuinely like that. And I think that, one of the things my wife always says, I tell her, honey, I'm going to Walmart. I'll be back 15 minutes. Got to get some dog food. She says, I'll see you in 2 hours, because everybody's going to stop you and want to talk to you. I don't mind. I think that if you're going to accept the responsibility to be a public official, you should be available to the public. And they should be able to access you not just behind a podium, which I don't like, or behind a desk, or have to make an appointment. You see me walking through Ace Hardware with paint in my hair and a pair of shorts on from work, and, hey, Brett, can I talk to you? Absolutely, yes, you can. I'll stop and make that time for you. As far as the community's relationship with law enforcement as a whole, I think Hardee County is a bunch of very good people, family-oriented people who support constitutional rights, who support their law enforcement officers, and I think that generally we have a good relationship with our community. Perhaps we could better it. There's always room for improvement. If I get elected sheriff, I will be out in the public, greeting the public, being a member of the public so that I can serve the public. Thank you for your time.
All right, thank you. All right, Chief Eason, you're up next.
Thank you. So how do I view the current status of community relations with the Sheriff's Office with Hardee County? During the course of my campaign, I've actually spoken to several people specifically about this topic, and I would view the current status as fair. There are many citizens who feel they're not receiving the same level of service because they live in outlying areas. They're not receiving the same patrol levels that maybe inside the cities are receiving because, again, they live in outlying areas. We have a lot of good residents and good people that live in Hardee County, and they all deserve to receive the same level of respect. So when you start talking about, and I addressed it this week in the paper, and I've addressed it in previous posts on my social media. So when you start treating other people and you're providing them lesser services because of a particular neighborhood where they may live, or because of a particular color of their skin, that's wrong, and that's racism. Now, I'm not telling you that racism is rampant in Hardee County. I don't believe it is rampant in Hardee County. But if there are citizens who feel they are receiving poor service or lesser services based on the color of their skin, we need to address that. So as part of my administration, I will start a community focus group. We will meet regularly. We will meet with those minority communities. We will meet with the communities to find out what problems do they see going on inside their neighborhood. What problems do they see as a whole from the Hardee County Sheriff's Office? And we will address those issues. I assure you, we will be always forward-leaning. We will make sure that what we do today, that tomorrow is better than what we did today. We will make sure that we're providing that level of service to every member of the community, irregardless of where they live, what their last name is, what the color of their skin is, or what they happen to believe in. As law enforcement officers, we are bound by an oath to the Constitution of the United States. And I firmly believe in that Constitution, and we will provide that same level of service to every single member of this community, irregardless of where they live, where they work, or who they are.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Wendell, you get the same question. You may read it one more time, or
No, sir.
Okay,
I
all right.
believe I have
Happy
it.
to.
I believe that you can always improve. I don't think Hardee County is exempt from anything as far as the nation is concerned. Do we have issues here? Absolutely. And I'll go back to my original statement of service. The people providing the service, there's 110 of us that are providing the service, and that's where you improve the community communication, is those individuals that are actually seeing and talking to the community. And that, again, goes with management. Management is providing the right view, the right guideline, the right path to go down. And so the people that are actually citizens that are seeing the deputies, the right message is getting out to the community. That's how you improve, is management passing it down to the service line people that are providing that. And that includes deputies, corrections officers, administrative staff, is how they treat. But again, it starts with management going down, providing the service. We can always improve. We make mistakes, identify the mistakes, and move forward. Try not to make the same mistake twice. Thank you.
Actually, you could stay there because you get to go first on
I
the
will go
second
first.
round. You get to go first. All right.
I will go, sir.
All right. Public safety is a significant portion of the county budget each year. What can the sheriff's office do to ensure that scarce tax dollars are allocated appropriately?
It's a good question, because dollars are going away and not coming back. I know the sheriff asked for more money. I was asked a question last month: what is my involvement with the budget? And I instantly said none. And the more I thought about it and the more I impaled upon it, I realized I am actively involved in the budget. Do I physically sit down and look at the budget? No. We have a finance director that does that. But I deal with directly, for the last 4 years, automotive. I know that I can save money in that aspect. Buying what is needed opposed to buying what is wanted. Spending the money accordingly. And the biggest expense the sheriff's office has is personnel. Personnel is our biggest expense, trying to find the money to provide insurance and all the benefits that's there. What I want to do is reuse the equipment that we have, only purchase what is needed, not what is wanted. You have $1 left, doesn't mean you have to spend that dollar. Give it back, because tomorrow I may need $2. So the biggest thing is purchasing what is needed and not purchasing what is wanted. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Chief Eason, you're up next. Public safety is a significant portion of the county budget each year. What can the sheriff's office do to ensure that scarce tax dollars are allocated appropriately?
Okay, so as I discussed previously in my introduction, I have extensive budget development experience at both the Wauchula Police Department and as far as the City of Wauchula's budget development team. I have extensive experience in building, managing, and developing multi-million-dollar budgets. So as previously said, our 2009-2010 budget was our highest budget over the last decade. Our budget currently today is $25,373 higher, or 1.5% higher than what it was a decade. We've replaced the entire fleet of vehicles. We've upgraded computers, firearms. I'm not going to go into the list ad nauseum again. But I know where I can save money. I know where you can manage money. When you start looking at the budget, you've got to know where your ad valorem taxes are coming from. You have to know how that budget is funded, and you have to have a good working knowledge of that. So when you start talking about budget, to make sure that our budget doesn't continue to increase year after year after year, you again have to go after grant dollars that are out there and available. All you have to do is look for them and apply for them. $493,000 over 7.5 years. That's almost $500,000 that did not come out of a taxpayer's pocket. We raised the starting pay for every single officer within our agency to make that pay competitive. We've upgraded all of our equipment and systems. We actually have a capital improvement plan. I can tell you which car needs to be replaced at what year and at what interval based on the year it was purchased and the maintenance costs. We track maintenance costs. We track fuel expenses. I can tell you what piece of equipment is scheduled to be replaced next within our department based on what its life expectancy is. That's how you manage a budget. You set a strategic plan in place and you follow that strategic plan. You know when a air conditioner needs to be replaced. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Mr. Dowden, same question.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I think that with anything else, you have to live within your means. You have to request a reasonable sum of money from the taxpayer and live within your means. Recently, I pointed out that there was a large tax increase requested. I also pointed out that it was said that since we can't increase the budget, if we don't have the money, let's increase the tax rate. That's not an acceptable answer. We have to live within our means. We have to work with the county commission to come up with a reasonable budget. We have to trim fat. We have to make sure that personnel that work for us are paid a reasonable amount of money that is commensurate with surrounding agencies and reasonable to the taxpayer. The reason that the budget goes up every year is because there are things that are purchased that don't need to be purchased, salaries that are increased that don't need to be increased. I was told a long time ago by my family, who I have in law enforcement. My uncle was a Detroit City police officer, and he said, look, son, you're never going to get rich becoming a cop. If that's what you're in it for, do something else. If you're in it because your heart is for the people and you understand that you're going to live to a different standard, then by all means go for it. You'll find it very emotionally rewarding. I serve one of the poorest communities in our community. We have a very limited budget, but I'm still able to equip our officers with the best things that I can put them in to keep them safe and to be able to provide the kind of services that the people expect, present a professional demeanor, but we live within our means. We have collateral duties where officers are responsible for more than just one thing. There are a lot of practices that can be put into place to save the taxpayer money. I'm a taxpayer. I'm a business owner in town. If I didn't practice financial responsibility along with my wife at our business, we wouldn't have an income and we wouldn't have a business. That is how I look at the taxpayers' money. If I'm not responsible with it, then why would you have me as your sheriff? We would much prefer that we live within our means and that we work and negotiate with the county to utilize the funds that we have available to accomplish the mission at hand. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Davis, you're up.
All right. One thing I can say is the budget is very important. I mean, it is a taxpayer-funded budget. When I was promoted to administrative lieutenant, and one of the things I felt is I needed to go through our department. So I went through every division within our department, and I analyzed every position and the services provided to this community, and what services was needed to be provided to this community, trying to shave that budget because I needed because I do help work with the budget, help with Sheriff Lanier with the budget, so I was talking with the county commission to show them that we don't have any fat to trim. With the services the people expect us to provide and the services we are going to provide, we have got to have a set amount of deputies. We've got to stay within the surrounding counties if you want good quality deputies. I just graduated the FBI National Academy, and one of the main problems worldwide, and this is an academy made up of 255 people from all over the world, the main worldwide problem was retention and hiring. This new generation, they're not like Mr. Dowden talked, where they're in it because they love the people, and this is what they want to do. And every agency in the United States is trying to get people, and there's a shortage of law enforcement. So you've got to stay. When you can step across that state line or the county line and make $15,000 more, You have got to get there if you're going to provide the service to the people. So, I don't know what the answer is. We've worked with the county commission on the, I don't agree with raising the taxes because I do believe that, when the population is going down and the taxes are going up, it's not a good thing. So, but we're trying. And we will continue to work hard to keep that budget shaved and to keep the fat trimmed. Thank you.
Mr. Crawford, you get to finish us up.
Thank you, sir. Over the past 4 years, there's been a $2 million increase with the sheriff's budget. A couple of weeks ago, I sat through the budget hearings and seen a lot of areas where the scarce tax dollar is being used in excess. For Hardee County, the salaries of the administration is elite. As sheriff, I will go and the administration of my office will not be paid what they are currently. I'll be a good steward of the tax dollars that Hardee County people have worked hard for and expect in return a good sheriff's department. It can be done with the current allocation of tax dollars, but there's going to be some shifting around of the monies. One of the things that we need to do is understand that the county is large for the number of deputies that are there. There has to be a plan in place where deputies can actually patrol the outer portions of the county along with the community policing projects that needs to be put in place. These are essential, so money has to be found for actually additional deputies on the road. As far as the amount of necessary funding, as sheriff with the current budget, there would be no problems with allocating appropriately those funds for good coverage.
I'd like to thank all the sheriff's candidates for coming tonight. This is our last race, and this concludes our event tonight. I'd just like to say thank you for all the candidates for being willing to run and for being willing to serve. It takes good public servants to make our community great, and I just appreciate every one of you that is taking the opportunity to step out and put your hat in the ring for each of the races. Just remind everybody the early voting opened today, and it'll be open, and the primary is on August 18th. So please get out there and vote. And we appreciate you tuning in tonight. Thank you.